Let's go ahead and take a look at the other two elasticities of demand with the cross elasticity demand and the income elasticity demand. And these are very, very similar to the price elasticity demand, except we actually take a look at two different variables now. Remember with the price elasticity demand, we're taking a look at the change and a percentage change in quantity demanded over a percentage change in price for the same exact good. Here, with cross elasticity demand, we're taking a look at two different goods, and with income elasticity demand, we're actually taking a look at income, changes in income. So you do want to be very careful about all these elasticities because they are taking a look at different variables, and depending on the variables we introduce, that is going to tell us exactly what type of elasticity we should be using. So let's go ahead and take a look at the cross elasticity demand, which measures the responsiveness of demand for one good to changes in the prices of another good. So with this one, we're taking a look at two different goods, good A and good B. When we change the price of good B, what happens to the quantity of good A, the percentage change in quantity of good A? So we go ahead and notice that there is a formula that is going to be attached with this, the cross elasticity demand. It's going to be the percentage change in the quantity of good A divided by the percentage change in quantity of good B. So in order to solve this out, we go ahead and use the same exact midpoint formula that we did before. We can go ahead and open this up, but we do want to be very careful because we are now taking a look at two different goods, good A and good B. And that's going to be the main sort of differentiating factor between against the sort of regular price elasticity demand, which only measure the change in quantity and the change in price of the same exact good. So if we wanted to open this up with a cross elasticity demand, we can absolutely do so. Cross elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand. And we denote this shorthand with an EAB. So here, EAB tells us exactly that we are taking a look at two different goods. And the midpoint formula is exactly the same as the price elasticity demand. We have Q1 minus Q0 divided by Q0 plus Q1, divide that by 2. So here, put that in brackets. Don't forget orders of operation matter. And this is going to give us the percentage change in quantity of good A. So here, percentage of good A. Good A, percentage change of good A. We can go ahead and denote this good A as QA right here. So here, just using the same shorthand notation. So percentage change of good A, quantity change of good A. And then we want to go ahead and divide that, get our denominator, which is going to be the percentage change in price of good B. We have P1 minus P0 divided by P0 plus P1 divided by 2. Don't forget the brackets. And then that'll give us the denominator right here. And this is, once again, going to be for good B. So percentage change of good B, price of good B. So here it's going to be a PB. So here we take a look at percentage change of price of good B. And as you can notice, the midpoint formula is exactly the same, except now we're introducing two different goods. We're going to have a change in the quantity of good A, and we're going to have the change in the price of good B. So we have an initial starting point, we have an ending point. This information is going to be provided to you, and you solve it out in the same exact way as you did with the price elasticity demand. However, with this particular elasticity, there is one important thing that you should note. The sign does matter. So positive and negative numbers will make your answer choice very, very different. Do not take the absolute value with this cross elasticity demand, because the sign determines whether the goods are substitutes or complements. So you do want to be very consistent with a positive sign, with a negative sign. It can occur both in the numerator and the denominator. So you do want to be very, very careful and consistent with the way that you do set this cross elasticity of demand up. Do not take the absolute value. So what happens if we have a positive sign? If the elasticity of the cross elasticity demand is greater than 0, it's a positive number, then we notice that these two goods that we're comparing against each other are substitutes. So if we increase the price of good A and increases the good demand for good B, that tells us that, hey, it's a positive number. We have a positive in the numerator, we have a positive in the denominator, so these two goods are going to be considered to be substitute goods with one another. And of course, if we can go the opposite direction, if we decrease the price of good A and it decreases the demand for good B, that is still going to be a positive number, because a negative above a negative in a fraction is going to lead to a positive number. So therefore, these are still seen as substitute goods. So once again, be very careful about the sign. But what happens if the numerator is positive, but the denominator is negative, and vice versa? Well, if the cross elasticity of demand is less than 0 or a negative number, then we consider these two goods to be complement goods. So this is actually the more formal way to derive complement goods and substitute goods compared to what we saw in chapter number 3 by taking a look at the cross elasticities. So if the price of gasoline rises, we have a positive in the denominator. The demand for cars falls, so we have a negative in the numerator. So a negative over a positive is going to give us a negative number. So therefore, these two goods are going to be seen as a complement goods with one another. So once again, do be very careful about the signs. Do not take the absolute value, but you're going to solve it out in the same exact manner that we did with the price elasticity of demand using the midpoint formula. We just take a look at two different variables now, the price of good A and the quantity of good B, or the price of good B and the quantity of good A. It doesn't really matter. We're just taking a look at two different goods. We'll take a look at the income elasticity and see how that is very similar and also pretty different from our last two elasticities. I'll see you there.